Hey folks, AG Squared here. I had the pleasure to see Dave Ramsey and Dr. John Delony for the first time in person at the Fox Theater in Atlanta, Georgia. And if you've been following my channel, you know that I think the world of Dave. His words of wisdom have helped many and can help improve your life by guiding you in establishing a foundation around financial discipline. But you'd also know that I strongly disagree with living a life without credit cards and a life of 100% debt free. But I'm not here to talk about that. To learn more about my stance on that and how using good debt has helped me become a millionaire, watch the above video here. Today, I wanted to share the 4 key takeaways from my backstage experience with Dave and John, as well as from their 3-hour-long discussion, all condensed down into 20 minutes so that you can learn what I learned. Because any wisdom that can help you in life shouldn't have a price of admission. You ready? Let's get to it. The first key takeaway starts with a story Dave shared about how, as a young adult, he was obsessed in talking to millionaires in order to learn how to become one. But he wasn't interested in talking to young millionaires. No. Because he was one already. The problem? Well, he was over leveraged in real estate and ultimately caused him to go bankrupt, losing everything. So instead, Dave began interviewing old millionaires, those that had proven their ability to sustain their wealth. Fast forward to recently, good old Dave still has a thirst to learn. So now he is interviewing billionaires. We're approaching the key takeaway here. He shared that during a dinner interview with a billionaire, he asked what it takes to go from a millionaire to a billionaire. They leaned closer to Dave and said, "Dave, you need to read this book." And boy, Dave got excited at this point because he shared how much he loves to read, which I appreciate so much because it tells me that he is a learn-it-all and not a know-it-all, a characteristic that I recommend everyone to embrace. So here's Dave getting a pen and paper out, eagerly ready to note down the book that this billionaire is about to mention. Then the billionaire says, "Dave, have you read the book, The Tortoise and the Hare?" Dave paused, looked up, and said, "Well, yeah, it's a children's book." What an anticlimactic moment right there. No. Dave then shared the punchline. "Yes, Dave, but remember, no matter how the story is told, the tortoise always wins." Sure, the hare can be a lot faster. It's going to look sexier, while the tortoise is going to look boring and slow. But every single time that book is told, the tortoise always ends up winning. It's at this point where Dave made the connection between this story and investments. So why does a tortoise always win? Because they play the long game. They are disciplined. They got a game plan. They're not reactive or eager to make sudden movements or go jump in on the latest fad like cryptocurrency and then have to endure the volatility. Ultimately, the tortoise is in the slow and easy wins the race. Becoming a millionaire is practically guaranteed if you take the tortoise approach. But how does one actually apply the moral of this story? Well, first, it assumes that you have completed some of Dave's initial baby steps. In my opinion, especially the ones around having a secure source of income, having paid off all bad debt like outstanding credit cards or high interest personal loans. No, student debt, especially those with low interest rates, don't count as bad debt. And lastly, third, having saved up 3 to 6 months of living expenses in an emergency fund. Once you've accomplished this, Dave shares a very pragmatic approach to investing in 3 simple steps, all which I've done for a very long time, but that I wish that I knew right after college. Here they are. Step 1. Most of us work for an employer. I have for over 11 years now. And most employers offer a 401k matching program where up to a certain amount of your salary, your employer will match a percentage of your 401k contributions. This is guaranteed ROI, return on investment, folks, the best kind. So it's no surprise that Dave nails this as the very first thing to do. Strive to balance your budget and increase your salary in order to maximize your employer's matching program. but you don't necessarily want to invest more than what your employer is matching into a traditional 401k. This is where young Adrian, right out of college, made a mistake. A small one though. Because I was obsessed with saving and investing. On my first job, I remember putting around 25% of my salary into my 401k, way exceeding what my employer matched. I thought this was wise back then, until I learned in my own time why it wasn't. Well, here is Dave's step number 2. Once you maximize your employer's match, start investing in a 401k Roth. Whether your employer offers a 401k Roth or whether you need to open your own Roth account using a brokerage. Similar to a traditional 401k, you'll benefit from compounding interest over many years. But why is a Roth so much better than the traditional one for the majority of people, especially for anyone younger than 35? Well, that's because investments in a Roth grow tax-free. This is incredible. The benefit of a traditional 401k is that you reduce your taxable income by deferring paying taxes on those contributions. But once you take them out and profit, the IRS will want a huge portion of your hard-earned money. Don't let them do that to you. Instead, maximize your allowed contributions in a Roth, where unfortunately you don't defer paying taxes. Instead, you'll get a better benefit. All of your compounding gains over that course of time, if you start in your 20s, 40 plus years, 30s, 30 plus years, you'll be able to cash out all those compounding gains tax-free, something that everyone should take advantage of. After you maximize the Roth contributions, then Dave's third step is to start investing more in a traditional 401k. This is where the game gets fun, folks, because by the time you have mastered using a budget, living below your means, delaying gratification to prioritize investments, at this step, you get to choose how to diversify your investments. At this point, you have my permission to invest in crypto. You have my permission to trade options. You have my permission to buy lottery tickets. You have my permission to go gamble at the casino. Or like me, you have my permission to invest in real estate. But do not compromise that discipline even as you start venturing into other investments. Always have a pragmatic balance of risk and reward when it comes to balancing your investment portfolio. What are your thoughts on this key takeaway around investments, folks? What questions do you have? Let me know in the comments below. Okay, let's get to key takeaway numero dos. Here we get to hear from John around the topic of navigating anxiety in the modern age and how certain daily choices can help all of us overcome anxiety. This was such a powerful message to me, especially given how busy and fast-paced I like to live my life. John started with an analogy. He shared a mental image with the audience. Imagine a kitchen. There's a ton that can be going on in one, right? You may have the oven cooking something. You may have something boiling in a pot, something in the frying pan. You may also be running a dishwasher at the same time, and so on. It can be very busy in a kitchen. And you've all experienced it. At some point, the smoke detector starts going off. How annoying. And for many, the easiest solution might just be to remove the batteries from the smoke detector and say, F it. Problem solved, right? No. See, anxiety is the smoke detector. It's the symptom. It's the signal to your body that something is wrong. It's not the root cause of the underlying problem. So don't drown out anxiety. Don't ignore it. Don't take out the batteries from it. Instead, take time to self-reflect. The time to analyze where might the smoke be coming from. John then transitioned this beautifully into talking about the 6 daily choices that contribute to anxiety or that can free you from it, which he talks in greater detail in his book above. I haven't read it, but after listening to John, it'll be my next read, because given how busy life is today and how much change is going on across the world and will continue to change drastically. There is no time more important than now to learn frameworks on how to take care of yourself to guide you in navigating these challenges and times of great change. I won't talk about all 6, but only the ones that really stuck out to me. The first one is mindfulness. We've all been in a similar situation like this. You're driving, maybe to work, maybe to get groceries, maybe to drop off the kids at daycare or at school, somewhere. And while you're driving, someone all of a sudden just cuts you off. And this to many would enrage you. It'd make you feel angry, frustrated, upset, potentially ruin your entire day. Or maybe, like me, you're out to pick up your new Tesla and feeling incredibly excited after working so hard to responsibly afford it. But while waiting at the Tesla facility, protesters start gathering outside, at times even trying to agitate you as a Tesla buyer by bullying you. Similar situations, right? This might just ruin what should have been a very exciting and proud day. This is the core around mindfulness. Being intentional around taking in all of these events or signals around your life while still acting and moving on, but without letting them affect you. Practice, reflect in the moment. Yes, that event happened, is happening. What action do I need to do to react to it without letting it emotionally bother you? After being cut off in traffic, no action is necessary. Continue driving safely to your destination. Picking up a new Tesla and seeing a protest outside the building, be respectful of the protesters' rights to free speech. Let them do their thing. But the action is to remain very attentive of your surroundings, because a peaceful protest may just become a violent one. Being mindful is something I struggled with a lot when I was younger. But just over time, I came to the realization that how I feel, no one gets to control that. Nothing that someone does can determine how I feel. Sure, it can most definitely influence it, especially in a short term. And it can also definitely influence my actions. But in the long term, I control how I feel. Make mindfulness a daily habit. The next daily habit is reality. This came down to being anchored on what's actually happening to you and your body, and reflecting to ensure that you aren't falling victim in picking up bad habits that may become the norm for you, especially around your health, both your mental and physical health. Take care of yourself. Love yourself. And if you're struggling with that last part, surround yourself with others that love you implicitly. If you feel like you don't have anyone, seek help. But in addition to that, small habits like ensuring that you are getting enough sleep every night, or ensuring that you're eating the right healthy foods, or that you are in motion of any kind will go a long way. You don't need to hit the gym every day for 20 minutes. Instead, walking just 15 minutes is more than sufficient to give your body that dose of respiratory and physical exercise. Because if you're not well, you're not going to be able to do well and make the best decisions in life. Make reality a daily habit. The next daily habit John talked about is connection. This one's really starting to hit me home more and more in my point of life. Being able to feel connected is not about networking. It's not about knowing someone that can help you get out in front of your career or your business. No. Instead, it's about having others that you can share a special moment with. Something you are excited about, proud of, or maybe just an activity that you like to do with others. But most importantly, it's knowing that when you have moments where you are really, and I do mean really down, when you're having a hard time, when something in life just came up and hit you square in the face, it's the moments when you feel like you have hit rock bottom and knowing who you can lean on for support. These type of connections are those that you know that if you call them at 2 a.m. in the morning, that they will pick up and take the time to listen, support, and help you. Outside of your family and interacting with others naturally by navigating through school or your career, the best way to find this kind of special people is by taking the time to find a community. Make connection a part of your daily life. The third key takeaway started with a story that Dave shared when he was golfing with someone that was considered to be a professional top golfer some time ago. While golfing, Dave looked up and asked his friend, "Hey, how'd you get so good at golfing?" His friend grinned and said, "I'll show you." He proceeded to remove his golfer's gloves and show Dave his hand. "Dave, you see these calluses? Before I got good, I would spend hours practicing every day. I would practice until my hands were bleeding. And once they started bleeding, I would wrap them around with medical tape and continue practicing more. Once my hands were bleeding through the tape, I would wrap more tape around it and continue practicing." See, folks, success is not a right. It's not guaranteed. Success is not easy. It is hard. You have to sacrifice and overcome moments when you feel like you want to just give up, that it's just too much. But continue. The word for this is perseverance. You will fail. You will get hurt. You will feel upset. But you have to keep going. Anything that is worth accomplishing is worth struggling through it. For me, it wasn't golfing and practicing until my hands bled, but it was going to Georgia Tech, studying computer engineering, being beaten down continuously for 4 years by hard topics, exams, projects, all while figuring out life. Then after graduating, it was the courage for me to do things that I had never done before or that I hated doing, giving presentations and public talks at work, taking on projects that I wasn't prepared for, but still saying, "I want to do this." This message of knowing that you will face hard times and that persevering through them is key. Applying this to finance, but in a different form. It's about delaying gratification. Something I've been preaching and doing for the last 11 years since I graduated from college. You have to be willing to make sacrifices and cut out the extra fluff. Every little dollar counts in your budget. And yes, after college, I was making slightly above minimum salary, and fast forward 4 to 5 years later, I was making probably a top 5% salary. But even then, I was still living the same way that I was straight out of college. Sure, definitely with more flexibility, definitely with much fewer nerves about money, but my lifestyle didn't change. This allowed me to not just save for an emergency fund, not just save to have funds to invest, but most importantly, it taught me how to live a modest and comfortable life while being happy and amassing wealth. So delaying gratification, no matter where you're at in life, will help you build up that discipline and that patience to be able to be more probable in having success later on. And the last key takeaway I'll share is Dave and John sharing very personal stories about where at some point in life they had a pivotal moment, an absolute holy moment, a moment where something in their personal lives had to change or in their careers to be able to overcome that moment. For Dave, it was bankruptcy. For John, it was his marriage. And when you have that low point in life, when you are at the very bottom, it cannot get worse, and you have to make a decision to change your life. It's going to be hard, folks, but you have to be willing to make a decision. You have to be willing to make a change. Going back to the daily habit around connection, you don't want to navigate these moments alone. It's already hard enough as it is, and doing it alone is likely to not be successful, or it'll likely result in you falling back to whatever caused you to go inside of that slump. So instead, always lean on your support. Lean on those friendships. Lean on your family. Lean on the people you can trust. Lean on a random set of strangers in a community or a help support group if necessary. Also, in these moments, there is likely going to be a lot of things that need to be addressed. Don't take everything on at the same time. Focus on one hard aspect that you need to improve and you need to address. It's easier to address one hard thing well and quickly than it is to address 10 hard things all at once. All right, folks, those are the 4 key takeaways from my time with Dave and John. In this last segment, I want to talk a little bit about Dave and John themselves. What makes these people special is not that they're successful. It's not that they know how to talk and that the guidance that they sell helps people. Success aside, materials aside, ambitions aside, ultimately, what makes John and Dave special is that they are good people. To me, that's so inspiring to see in person because it confirms that one can build a business and amass tremendous success and wealth, all while caring for others. Now, as someone that is striving towards creating my own brand around educating people and helping others around homeownership, real estate, and finance, I saw firsthand the qualities that made Dave's brand take off. Dave and his team are master storytellers, being able to talk about very serious and hard topics in a way that's going to land well, all while being empathetic, caring, and making it enjoyable and relatable. I mean, they truly know how to make these conversations fun. For 3 hours, their entire talk was enjoyable. They cracked jokes. They made fun of one another. Their messages landed well. They are passionate about what they do. Let me reiterate this. We all have to do jobs that we will hate, period. It's how we learn to do things that we don't like, that we don't enjoy, but that they have to sometimes get done. But when you are able to find your passion, whether it is in your current career or while doing a side hustle or exploring a hobby, once you find that passion, go all in on it. Especially if you are younger than 30, especially if you don't have kids yet. That is the perfect time to take risks and go all in on that passion. Dave and John love what they do. That's how they can do it so well. And most importantly, they are authentic. This is so important, especially today with all the buzz around influencers and social media being so predominant. And even before the show, I asked in the Backstage Q&A session this to John and Dave. Guys, as someone that has a successful 10-year career in tech and in over 8 years grew his real estate business to 8 self-managed homes, and in the last year and a half is working towards growing his brand on YouTube around homeownership, real estate, and finance, what tips do you have to help me grow my audience? You know what was part of their answer? It was just that, to be authentic. Don't force yourself to be something you're not. Never. Be yourself. Be comfortable. Be confident. You're not perfect. I know I'm not. And that's okay. Some people are going to hate you. Some people are going to love you. That's fine. It all doesn't matter when you are being authentic. That's a wrap, folks. I recommend everyone, no matter where you are in life, no matter how poor or how wealthy, to subscribe to Dave Ramsey's YouTube or podcast or other social platforms. The entire community and culture that this man has created spanning decades is worth checking out. It's worth giving it a try. It's worth learning to see what aspects of it will help. I can only hope to have a slither of the impact that Dave has had, but I'm willing to continue working to do so. But all I ask from you is that you like this video, that you share this video with others, and that you subscribe to my channel. Let's spread knowledge that can help everyone. Thanks for tuning in, folks, and till next time.